Back to another vanilla base sign. Not gonna lie, I know for a fact you guys are gonna enjoy this one. A dedicated medium group could put this down easily, and the quality of life for base owners to raid cost ratio is absolutely perfect. I want to start off by showing you the build costs and upkeep, and then we can figure out the raid cost together. And the total build cost for the base is on screen right now. Keep in mind that I've placed a lot of deployables in order to make the cinematics look cooler, so your actual base will be a lot cheaper than this. Second up, we have the box amounts on screen. This should make things a little bit easier to visualize. And finally, this is the daily upkeep that you'll need to keep your base alive per 24 hours. As for the raid cost, the cheapest path into the open core is 10 rockets, where we can then splash 2 bunkers at the same time. After 28 rockets, we have opened up 2 armored bunkers and we have access to the boxes inside. After 34 rockets, we have the main TC, however we do not have building privilege. If we repeat the same splashing on the last 2 bunkers, we end up spending around 60 rockets on average. Keep in mind that this raid was the easiest route and the base owners were offline. This raid path also kept the peak downs and shooting floor completely intact. Now you know what it takes to build and what this base can withstand, it's time to jump in with a tour. This base is a 5 TC monster that's symmetrical on 2 sides. That means that we have 2 entrances into the base. Each entrance leads directly up to the main living floor. Around the shell we have access to our bunkers and the spacious core. Each bunker can be opened with a twig roof and shut by breaking that twig roof. 3 of our bunkers are just loot rooms, however the final one takes us through to our core. Inside the core we have room for bags, boxes and your main TC. The inner 2x2 has space for boxes, turrets, and it's useful for moving between the bunkers. Heading up one more floor takes us to another respawn point, where you can quickly rekit and get back to the fight. Each corner of the 4x4 has peek downs which allow us to defend our bunkers. This area also gives access to our shooting floor, where you can scatter lots of beds. Wide gaps are useful because they're going to remain after your base has been pummeled, and you can use them to shoot at raiders that are trying to ladder up. There's also a mix of peek downs on every corner of the base. At opposite ends of the base we have 2 roof peek ups that allow us to see the whole roof. The peek ups and the turrets defend the roof nicely. There is also 2 roof exits and a nice open space to land a selection of minicopters. The top of the base can be used to shoot from afar or to peek down, and there's also a minimum of 3 windmills that you can fit on top. That concludes the tour, so hopefully from here you want to know how to build it. As per usual, here's the footprint. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you need. This is a 5 TC base and this is where all the TCs go, just keep that in mind, and let's get on with the build. You can kick off the base with a 2x1 footprint as your starter. One of the squares is going to be walled in for our TC and loot room. And then you can place a door frame on the left, and walls in the last 2 spots. Place in your TC and give it a lock. Then you can throw in your doors, bags, boxes, workbenches, everything you could need in your starter, and then you need to start farming up to expand the base. Once you're ready to continue, make this 2x1 into a 2x2. You can wall in the square to the right of your door, and then throw on a frame and a roof. Add in a wall to the right and leave the rest open. Once you've gotten to this stage, we're going to add a square on every corner of the 2x2. And then on top of each square, we're going to add in a wall to stop them from decaying. Then you can finish off your 2x2 with a wall. And use furnaces to get out of this area for just now. Then you can do a little bit of upgrading to your starter. Now that our main TC is secure, we're going to build the extra 4 TCs that go around the base. Start by placing a twig foundation inside one of the gaps. From here you can add a half wall and a low wall and upgrade to metal. And then you can break the twig and they should float. Then do that to the remaining 3 sides, and once we've placed in those we can add the remaining 4 TCs. Next up we're going to build 8 squares coming out from the 2x2. After the 8th square you can cap it off with a triangle, And once your triangle is placed, you can break everything apart from the triangle. Then from this point, you can build back with triangles. Place in your final triangle and then finish off the whole row. Everything apart from the 5 triangles can get broken. Then we're going to upgrade our inner 2 triangles to metal and the outer 3 to stone. From this point, we're going to build out with 3 squares. Cap off the 3 squares with a triangle, and then break the 3 squares. Then you can build back using triangles, and you can upgrade this final triangle to metal. Then you can break the inner 2 triangles and the final triangle, and then replace that triangle with a square. And they can also get upgraded to metal. Then you can place a half wall on the triangle with a frame on top. Upgrade these both to metal, and then we're going to place a floor frame on the second triangle and upgrade to metal. Then we can connect the 2 structures with floor frames. All of the floor frames can get upgraded to metal as well. Make sure you add in these low walls as well, and no, I didn't forget. Then you can build an external TC of your choice, whether that's a square with a window or a freehand disconnectable bunker, whatever you prefer. Just keep in mind that the outer TCs will upkeep a crucial section of the base, so make them an 8 rocket raid minimum. I've gone for the standard mini Satori disconnectable, which you can find in the description down below. However, you guys can build whatever TC you'd like. Once you've created your TC on one side, you can replicate all those steps onto the remaining 3 sides. Once you have all your external TCs put down, you can add a compound around the base. Now that your compound's down, we're safe to start building the bunkers. Start by surrounding each bunker section in metal walls. Then place floor frames and connect them to the outer walls. Upgrade these frames to stone as they're just for covering up gaps. Then in between each floor frame, we're going to add in an armoured wall. Then inside each floor frame, we're going to add in a metal floor. The square corners around the base can just get raised up to the same height, and they're just honeycombing. Each bunker is going to be on the right hand side square, and the bunker entrance is going to be on the left. Start with the bunker nearest to your entrance to the starter. Then you can place a metal wall on the back side and rotate it. This wall is rotated to activate a conditional so there's no gaps in your bunker. Later on we'll add a triangle so it's non-soft-sidable. The wall on the right can be an armoured wall. And in the middle we're going to place 2 half walls and break the bottom one. The higher up half wall can be upgraded to armoured. The other bunkers are exactly the same except there's no half walls. The rest of the second floor in your 2x2 can get surrounded in metal walls. Next up, place 2 half walls down the middle and 2 stone half walls down the sides. Then you can place floors on top. The one above your core entrance needs to be armoured. Next we're going to raise the rest of the 4x4 to the same height using metal walls. The square next to the bunker will also have a rotated wall. This is what your base should look like so far. Once again we can fill in our corners and add a roof on top. Next we're going to place twig roofs all the way inside to open up our bunkers. As you can see, this is where all 4 bunkers go, and we're going to use this twig roof to help us place the ceiling correctly. Make your way over to one of the bunkers and try placing in a ceiling. If your bunker stays open, you've done it correctly. However, if your bunker shuts, then the ceiling's in the wrong place. Make sure you clip each floor frame towards the core. Then you can upgrade all of these floor frames to armoured. On the open squares, you can add in a stone frame, again clipping it to the 2x2. This base is going to have 2 entrances, so pick whatever 2 sides you'd like. Start by placing a stone frame on the right, and a window frame on the left. Beside your window, we're going to do a half height jump. And then you can add a roof on top. Then we're going to place walls all the way along. with a half height jump at the end. Once again placing in frames in the middle. Finally finishing off with a roof. And a frame right next to your bunker. Surround this section in walls. And then place a metal wall on top of your bunker. Place in all your frames and seal it off with a stone floor. Build the exact same entrance on the opposite side of the base. If you guys have more hypo to spend, then you can upgrade the bunker walls beside your entrances to armored. In order to make these walls non-soft side, we need to add in some triangles. Upgrade both of these triangles to metal so that people don't want the soft side. Then you can throw in your doors around your entrance. Next we're going to surround the whole 4x4 in metal walls. On the two sides where you've chosen not to do entrances, we're going to add in honeycombing. Do the exact same thing, except it's going to be with stone walls and no door frames. Then you can place your floors on top and fill in the intersections with metal walls. The remaining corners of the 4x4 can also get metal walls. I'm sure you've noticed the gaps in the base where the multi-TC meets, so we'll go ahead and fix those now. Make your way over to these extra triangles and we're going to add frames all the way up. When you've placed your frame, make sure you rotate it until you see the conditional appear. Then you can place in the rest of the frames all the way around. If you chose to armor up your entire bunker, make sure you upgrade the frame outside to armored as well. Next up, you can add frames on all of the corners of the 4x4. Then you can add frames to the left of your entrances into the 2x2. Then we can surround the rest of the 2x2 with metal walls. On the inside, we're going to split half of the 2x2 with half walls and the other half with low walls. These floors are going to prevent splash damage and help us place in 12 boxes. Once you've placed in all your floors, you can add a hexagon on top. Place frames in between so that it's easier to access all the boxes. Then you can place in a box on top of the frame, and a box on top of the low wall. Then you can add a floor on top, leaving out one square for our ladder hatch frame. Next you can go around the perimeter of the 4x4 with metal walls. On the corners we're going to be building window peek downs. Start by placing a half height square inside them. Once you've placed in your squares, you can add window frames on top of the frames. The inner 2x2 can get surrounded in metal walls, leaving one side to be the jump up. As per usual, we're going to add in frames first for the ceiling, then metal floors to cover up any gaps. Place stone frames on either side and then you can add in some floors. Now we're going to start building the next floor. Start by walling in your jump up. Then you can place a door to the right and a door to the left. Then you can add in another door frame and one more door frame. And then place in the last two walls. On the sides where you have your entrances, you can add a frame after your first frame. Same thing on this entrance side. On the peek down sides, we're going to place a half wall and then a window on top. If you see it looking any differently later on in the video, it's because I'm an idiot, so don't worry about that. Make sure you've got it like this. Place in all of these walls and then add door frames in between. Then you can add a ceiling on top of this section. Then repeat those walls on the opposite side. The front and back are going to be our access to peek downs, and the left and right are going to be towards shooting floor. Don't forget to fill the inner 2x2 with frames as well. This extra square is going to be a bedroom, so we can add a wall to divide down the middle. That's the entire design for this floor. Now we're going to start adding a ceiling. The inner 2x2 can be covered in metal floors. Then before we fill in the next set of floors, we're going to place in frames to cover up gaps. And once you've placed in those, you can add metal floor frames on top. Finally, metal floor frames on the corners. Then place in all your doors onto this level. In order to build the shooting floor, we're going to need to add in some frames and some foundations down below. From your entrance, we're going to add in a triangle, a square, and a triangle. Then you can keep this triangle and break the rest. Repeat that on this side as well. And this is what we're looking for in every corner of the base. Once you've placed in all your corner triangles, we're going to place frames all the way up. Once you've got all your corner frames placed in, we're going to add frames on top of our honeycombing and airlocks. Once you've got that, we're going to add in a couple of wide gap frames as well. Once you've got all those placed in, we're going to finish off the wide gapping. Make your way down to your external TC and we're going to place a triangle, a square and a triangle. And do the same thing on this side. Then once you've done that, you can brace frames all the way up. Finish with a half wall on top. Then repeat that on the remaining 4 sides. Now that we've placed in all of our frames, we can add in some floors. You can start off with your 3 triangles, with a square in front. Then you can place triangles in between our frames, and then triangles coming off of each frame. And then just repeat those steps all the way around. These peaks are going to need siren lights to make sure you don't fall through. Once you've placed in all your floors, you can surround everything with windows. Then you can place some braziers on all of those windows. On the sides with the roof peak ups, we're going to add in a couple of frames. Then 2 triangle frames and a triangle floor. On the opposite ends of the roof peak ups, we're going to add in a ladder hatch to get up. And for the corners, we're just going to place in triangles the same as we did below. Then you can fill in the rest of the roofs as normal. Surround your roof peak ups in full walls. Then add a layer of floors on top. Finish it off with a layer of floors again. On this side you can add in a wall, a window and a door. And then just create a little airlock to come outside of your roof. Then you can place in all the deployables that you need. If you didn't already know, we place in siren lights to stand on top of the roof peak ups. Make your way over to your roof peak ups and we're going to place a roof on either side. Then we're going to place a triangle roof in the middle. And then you can repeat that on the remaining 3 sides. Then we're going to go underneath the base to place the last few roofs in. Make your way over to the corners and get out the triangle roof and place it above. Then turn around and place it from this side as well. Same thing to the left. The roofs combined with the door frame will stop anyone from falling inside. Last thing to do is to build the windmill pods. Go on top of each of your 3 triangles and go up by 2 in the center triangle. Then you can place a floor on top and a floor facing out the way. Then just place all of your windmills on top. And once you've done that, that completes the base design. Hopefully you boys really enjoyed this base. It's quite a strong one, it's really good for defending. A little bit difficult to build, some spots could be quite tricky, but you guys will get the hang of it, I'm sure. If you guys are going to build this one, please feel free to drop a like and a sub, that would help me out a ton. I really hope to see this base out there on some servers, and I will see you boys in the next video.